Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice podcast. We would like to first say thank you to those who tune in week after week, those who share the link on various platforms. Thank you. Y'all, this season, we are excited to bring you some hot and new topics. We are ready to push you further into your destiny. If you feel stuck or even overwhelmed, I want you to tune in and have a mind of expectancy, because we believe that if you challenge it, it will change.
Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice. Thank you for tuning in. I thank God that you all are still listening to the Power in Your Voice podcast. Challenge it and it will change. We have an amazing topic, very heavy weight that we wanted to weigh in on. This is something that we usually stay away from, but since this is so right now, I think that we ought to dive in on it. I have a great team who have done their homework in this. I have a guest tonight, Sandra Anderson. So we're just going to come and bring it to the forefront. Our topic is called The Time Is Now. And the reason why we went to pick this is because we have so many violent things that are happening right now. We have school shooting, store shooting, church shooting, hospital shooting, so many things that are going on. And I want our listeners to hear so we can weigh in and pay attention to what we can do to help stop these things. Yes, we can pray about it. Yes, we can talk about it, but we need to put some action to what we're talking about. Right here, I have my son, Wes. He's going to help me navigate through this topic tonight, today, whatever time you're listening to us. Y'all, come on, Wes, let's talk about this time is now, because we realize that it's going to take some voting, some going out to the poll to make a difference in what we're seeing in our world today. Come on, talk to me, Wes.
Right. Well, good evening, Dr. Linda and the Power in Your Voice team and the podcast listeners. Again, as always, it's a blessing to be able to come on and just to share some thoughts and just a range of topics, through this venue, and prayerfully it is being reached and is changing your lives. But I'm thankful for this particular thought. The time is now, because in our nation we have there's been just a lot of just negative things that's been going on. I know that everyone is probably familiar with the latest rash of mass shootings that we have had in our country. And as a matter of fact, there was another one, unfortunately, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I went and looked it up, it's reported that in this year alone, and we just got into the month of June, but in the year of 2022, so far there have already been over 200 mass shootings in our country. I want to say it's somewhere along 231, 232 so far in the United States. And of course, we've been every time we hear about it, our hearts are saddened, and they go out to those family members, and we are praying, and, we're trusting God that there will be change. But there are a lot of things that are going on that needs to change at the highest levels of government. Pastor Anise and myself, we were watching a movie. It was a few weeks ago, and in this movie, the man, he was kind of upset with God, because something bad had happened to his daughter, and he was like, well, why did God allow this to happen? And God didn't do anything to stop it. And at one point in the movie, there was a dialogue between him and I think what it would have been an angel, and the angel was telling him that as long as there is a will in this world that does not submit to the will of God, then there's going to be evil. And we have seen that a lot, unfortunately, in our country, that there is evil there's evil that is prevalent. There's a lot of just negative things that are going on. And of course, we are praying for these families and their loved ones. But as we've heard, people are saying, okay, well, what is, I hear that you're praying and we appreciate the prayers. But we want to see some change. We want to see some change, and we're not blaming God. But we absolutely need to have change in our country right now. And there are a couple of bills that are actually in the Senate right now that haven't been passed. Gun control bills that are kind of, they're debating right now about what to do with these two bills. But there's legislation that needs to get passed I believe to help our country. And you have different views, on this subject. Some people say that, that we need, stronger gun control laws. Some people say that, that the answer is to not restrict, the sale of these weapons, but rather to actually get weapons in the hands of people so that they can defend themselves. But no matter what, especially in line with what we're talking about tonight, the time is now. When we go to the polls, I know that the midterm elections are coming up in November, and this is a time for people to go out and to allow their voice to be heard and to cast their ballot for whatever candidate that they feel represents their values or whatever they believe in. As long as we fail to do that, then we are giving away our opportunity. We're giving up our voice to speak for what we believe in. And people will be in office and position that may not necessarily align with what we believe in. So just like we're talking about tonight, and it goes beyond, the mass shootings and all of that, but this is the topic, that of the hour. So this is the time now for people to exercise that right and to go and to cast the ballot for whoever they feel is the candidate that represents their values. And again, like I said, they're talking about gun control, but then at the same time they're talking about mental health, strengthening the availability for mental health in our country. So I'll just say that just to kind of hopefully kick it off and to maybe spur some other conversation. But I'll say this, we are absolutely praying for these families. Our heart goes out to them, and we are praying for them that God will continue to strengthen them and help them through these trying moments in their life. But at the same time, there absolutely needs to be legislation changes, I believe, in our country if we expect to see some difference made.
Thank you, Wes. I greatly appreciate that. So many times people do not think that voting will make a difference, but you brought out so many powerful things to say why we should go and vote. And that's why we're talking about the time is now. And we understand that election is not until November, but we need to be listening to all those that are running for those election places to say whether they're going to be senator, whether they're going to be the mayor, or whatever it's going to be in your city, because they're the ones that is the voice for us, that is speaking for us. So Ebony, come on and weigh in on some things. Why do you think that people they don't think that voting will help? Why do you think that?
Honestly, a lot of people don't get into voting, for one, because it's politics. So for many, politics, a lot of people don't like to get into it just because you feel like there's nothing going to happen. Your voice is not going to be heard. But one of the things that I do really absolutely love that Pastor West has said is you got to vote for somebody that stands for your values, your morals, because that's the face. It's just like top 500 companies. That CEO's face is the face of the company, although there are other people working behind the scene. So when it comes to voting, we have to change our mentality of nothing's going to happen. I can speak from my personal experiences. When I first turned 18, getting ready to vote, I was not knowledgeable at all. I just went in there to vote, just like they told me to vote. I was not aware of who was on the ballot or anything like that. But as I gained knowledge and understanding, I realized you've got to follow you are voting for. You can't just go in there and do a random pick. You can't just go in there and say, well, Lord, you gonna lead me. Yes, God will lead us in who we need to vote for, but we also have to be aware. We have to be a knowledgeable of who it is. Just like they said, the mayors, you've got to just remember, and this goes for anybody's belief that may not just feel like voting because of whatever their reasons or their doubts are. You just have to picture as this is the face that will represent for me. This is the face that's going to say what I want them to say. So if we don't vote for the right person, whether you're against gun control, whether you're for it, whatever it is that you stand for, you have to know that whoever you are voting for, that's who's going to speak for us. So it does have a voice. Things will happen. But if we're not knowledgeable in voting, then no, nothing's going to move because you're voting for the wrong people or for the wrong reasons.
Thank you. Thank you, Ebony. That's very powerful. What about this? Sandra Anderson is on with me, one of my guests. So can you weigh in on just people's having decency about one another, man?
Okay. With all the mass shootings and everything that's going on right now, we have lost the decency as far as what we expect from ourselves to give to someone else, as well as so many people are persevering, not through just the hard times, but well as the good times. And we're not understanding that the people that we are putting into office, whether one of your most powerful places that you can be a part of is your PTA meeting. Association, Parent Teachers Association. How many of us would even go to a PTA meeting? Then our city council meetings. How many of us would go there? Every city has an open session. How many of us would go there to cast our opinion? But yet we want to say it's about the presidential election. Even the governor's election and those local things is the ones that we really have to see about the people, whether or not they have the decency to even want to preserve our rights as far as the things that we need and want. Because too many people are struggling and persevering every day, but yet we are continuing to bypass those people and things that we really do need in order to get up to the senators and the Congress people and the presidential part. But yet those are the ones that's passing all the bills that we need now in order just to survive. And perseverance is all that we can do, and that's without saying I am a Democrat or I am a Republican. We are people first. And we have lost all sight of the decency for any of us. What happened to being Americans? It was a time that people fought and wanted just to come to America to have a better life for themselves. What happened to that? But yet now it's all vanishing. Everybody's like, what happened to Americans? We stand for nothing. So that is what I wanted to say in reference to y'all. We got to start standing up and just respecting one another, because these mass shootings, the gun laws and everything else, and we're standing for nothing. And yet even our children are dying.
That's very powerful, Miss Sandra. I greatly appreciate you weighing in on that. I want to bring Jalen into this conversation, being a young lady. We're talking about the time is now. Jalen, what do you say about, what is going on in our time where we are right now?
I would say, considering all the shootings that have been happening across our country lately, it honestly leaves you speechless. It leaves you heartbroken. If you have any type of empathy that goes out towards those families, because even though it's not you that's being directly affected by the situation, having to watch these people go through losing loved ones, losing children, losing parents, aunts, uncles, whoever it may be who died in the shooting, it's really sad. For lack of a better word, sad is the best expression that you could give. Is disheartening. And I would say that this conversation, the time is now, really is important, because we need to get out there and vote. And like I was sharing with Pastor Renise, I was saying it's not just about being a Democrat or a Republican, because you can't be so 100% Democrat that you might agree with what the Republicans are saying. But because you go to the ballot blindly and you just vote Democrat, but you might not agree with what the Democrats are saying. So because the time is now to vote, but we need to vote knowledgeably. We need to have information behind our vote. We need to pay attention. You need to pay attention to the press conferences that are being held. You need to pay attention to the meetings that are being held in your city. You need to pay attention to, because it's more than just a presidential election. It starts in your city. The difference really starts in your city, in those meetings that are being held in our cities to begin with. So it's time to vote, but it's time to get knowledge behind our vote and not go to the ballot blindly. And it's time to debunk the idea that my vote doesn't count, because it really doesn't. If people were to take out the time just to do a little bit of research, they would really understand that your vote really does count.
Thank you so much, Jalen. I this is a really heavy topic. The time is now, because we're talking about your voice, your learning, getting knowledge about what is going on in America. What affects America is what affects all of us. Whether it's our child got shot or not. If these things continue, eventually it'll wind down to all of us. It's not even safe to go to a grocery store anymore. Who sends their child to go to school and get this type of news? Who goes to church, come back and have to deal with these type of things? You all, my time always is running out. I'm so grateful to this great team that have gathered knowledge, and we have even some more knowledge. We are not out of words to say or things to say. We're just out of time. And with this, we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about it. As we always say, we're going to stand together. We're going to get through this, as we always have, as peoples of America. It's just not, oh, we're praying for you or we feel your sympathy. No, we are in this with you. The battle is not just yours. It is America battle. And so with that being said, y'all tune back in to me next week. All right, remember, the time is now. Go and vote. Go and get the knowledge. I'll talk with you again about this next week. Peace out.
Prayer is that you be encouraged. Know that life can be hard at times, sometimes even unbearable. But know, when we are weak, God is strong. Let's take off the world's expectation of us and ask God, what do you expect of me? We ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed week, and see you next week.